Okay, guys, yesterday I talked about the easiest ways to monetize your life, and I gave you my favorite way, which I consider easy and on the quicker side of things. And I felt today I wanted to talk about the worst ways to monetize your life. And that's my opinion, but you can stick around and I will share what it is and why. Number one, anything that is labor intensive. So you may have written out your skills, your experience, and all of that, and then you may come up with a way, like let's say opening a restaurant. You might say, you know what, I love to cook, I know how to cook, and that's something that I could definitely do. And so the thing may be to open a restaurant where you share your skills and all of that with people. Absolutely nothing wrong with that. Now, the reason why I know from first-hand experience that labor intensive can actually kill the joy of monetization is because I did it as well. In 2021, I left the US and went to St. Lucia and opened up a cafe. And although I did not plan on actually being the one doing the cooking and the baking and all of that, I thought that I would be able to kind of just take the vision out of my head and tell persons exactly what I want done. But it does not always work out that way. And I found myself a lot of the times in the kitchen on my feet for 6-7 hours a day. Long story short, we closed down the cafe because it was not what we imagined. It became so labor intensive and it took a real physical and mental toll on me. At the same time, I was running other businesses more in the online space. And I was like, I'm working so hard, labor intensive, doing this, yet I'm making more money in the less, labor part of my monetization journey. And so obviously it was a hard decision because we had invested heavily in it, but we quit. So I would say when you're doing this, think about the labor aspect of it and understand that you may not always have or get employees with your vision. So there are times when you will have to get dirty to get the vision to work. So if you're thinking of monetizing your life, my advice is to go for less labor intensive monetization path. Okay, that's one. The second one I would say is to choose a path where there's not a lot of follow-up involved. Now, let's say you're renting a space or renting products or belongings that you own. Maybe it could be a lawnmower, used products, whatever it is. There may be a lot of follow-up with that. So if you're renting a room in your house and then you're doing all of the paperwork, you're doing it all, if things go wrong, you have to figure that out. That could possibly become taxing. You want, when you choose your monetization path, that you can stick with it and it can actually bring you joy. You do not want one that brings you frustration. Now, an Airbnb path, which is something that we're considering right now, is a little bit easier because the whole setup is through Airbnb. But if you're doing that one-on-one, it may become a little bit taxing and you want to ensure that you're ready for all of the work involved. If it is something where you're renting equipment, as I said, like maybe lawnmower or tools, you also have to take into consideration the follow-up. Does the person return the item, the day that it is supposed to be returned? And all of these could become issues. So while it is a good way to monetize, you have to ensure that you are ready for whatever, the entire process entails. Number 3, I want to talk about logistics, and I'm talking about things like inventory and keeping track and all of that. So for example, I love fashion. I believe that I have a skill in putting things together. I'm not a fashionista, but I could definitely put stuff together. I could put a home together. I could do stuff like that, right? Now, does that mean that I go purchase thousands and thousands of dollars of clothing and then say, now I'm going to be selling clothing? In today's world, I would not, because I believe that inventory and logistics is actually more complicated than most persons thought. I had a personal styling business, and I also had a retail aspect to it. And it came with a lot of ways in figuring out how to get rid of the clothing. Although the business was profitable, you still end up with inventory that you have to sell or get rid of, okay? So anything that involves logistics, inventory, where you have to go into more intense marketing, these things could cause frustration, could cause you to be stressed out, and could cause you to quit your monetization journey before you even actually begin making money. So if you're looking for ease, these are the 3 things that I would avoid altogether. I hope this was helpful. I'll see you again tomorrow with another video on monetizing your life.